everyone. I'm Elaine, and our other speaker is Mr. Ming Jiang. Welcome to our very special workshop designed just for you, titled Confidence in Uncertainty. When you are applying for college, it would feel really uncertain, and yet we want to help you build that confidence during this time of uncertainty. So our goal is to help you bear fruit through this special college seminar so that you can F-R-U-I-T, and an acrostic I created for you. Find your passion and interest. Research and apply for the right college. Use your passion to choose the right field. Improve and make the best out of your college life. T is train and equip yourself for a successful career. So welcome for joining us. We have friends from coast to coast in the United States and Canada. We are so excited, and we already talked to a few of you. I know there's a 7th grader and then all the way to high school senior. So welcome. And I know there's some parents too. So we're gonna start with Ming. He is retired vice president of Texas Instrument. He led a very successful group of thousands of engineers who graduated from MIT and Stanford, UC Berkeley, and such. And he himself got a Master of Engineering.
他已经退休了，在 AT&T 做了33年，做了很多的部门，然后他最后做的主任。
So I will now pass the time. Yeah, so I'll now pass the time to Ming to start with 30 minutes sharing, and then I'll come back in to share the rest of the workshop. And be prepared to ask questions. You can put questions in the chat box. That will be easier. Okay, so Ming, take it away.
Okay, let me share my slides now. Okay.
Yeah, we
can you
see it.
My, yes, you can
Yes.
see my screen now, is that right? Okay, let me go to full screen. Okay, confidence in uncertainty. For sure, we all have a lot of uncertainty in front of us. So if you ask your parents, when they were in the high school, do they expect that today what they're doing is exactly what they have planned a long time ago? I can tell you 100% the answer would be no. Because so much question mark, so much cross junctions, and so much roller coaster ride, and so much cross point, you don't know it's left or right. And many times we just throw the dice. We really don't know. There's no way we can control our future, especially in such a dynamic times. And I remember when I'm helping all this young professional or college graduate trying to find a job, a lot of the job, which is very popular now, didn't even exist when I retired from TI. That's how fast things going on. So you don't have to worry a little bit at all. So you don't know what you want to do because you don't really have control most of the time. But I think God has control. But all you need to do is do your best, get prepared. And we are here trying to help you to do your best, get prepared. And even if there's a surprise or shock come, don't get discouraged, don't get feared. And it's not a big problem. You can always win, okay? Life is a maze. So you don't have to worry too much about it, but think about it. If the maze look from 3-dimensional, look at 2-dimensional maze, it's much easier to solve the problem. That's why it's so important you look at everything from God's perspective, and it's much easier to understand what God wanted to do and where you're going to. Because the maze is a 2-dimensional problem, but God's perspective is 3-dimensional perspective. And it's more like a bird's eye view. Look at what's going on Earth. Let's keep this in mind. It helped both us and the Elaine so much. Guess what it is? This is one of the most favorite picture for me. It's a neuron cell in our brain. neuron cell in our brain. All those little ones, more like a sesame, are the neuron cell. And the red one, more like a blood vessel, are the nutrition to our brain, neuron cell. Guess how many neuron cells we have in our brain? You couldn't believe it. 100 billion neuron cells we have in our brain. So all the brain in our neuron cell decide who we are. Our personality, our strengths, our academic capabilities, our memory, our visual, our audio capability, everything. So 100 billion neuron cell, each neuron cell had to talk to 100 to 200,000 cells, directly or indirectly. It's more like a 15 times of today's population in the world. Now, everyone have an extremely intelligent smartphone. And everyone had a 100, 200,000 friends in their directory. This is how complicated the communication network in our brain. You probably will ask a question, who wired it up so perfectly so we can exist here, do what we're doing, and we can dream about our future? Who did that? Somebody must have done it while you're in the wombs. So take this picture, go back to think about it, and you really have to praise the God who did such a good job to wire you up as you are. Because he wired you up, he had a plan for you, so you don't have to worry about it. He loved you more than anybody else in the world loved you. This proves God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, and God loves us, and he knows what he's doing. So I'd like to share two scriptures here. We know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him. I can promise you this is 100% true. So I look back on my life, every little bit critical detail in my life is all controlled by God. It's more like a miracle to me. I cannot share a lot of detail, but the truth is God's in control. And the more you love him later, the more you understand why he controlled every bit of detail and let it go through all the maze and just make the decision among so many uncertainties. So God, the almighty hand, okay, lead you into your life, into your future. You don't have to worry about nothing. 30 years down the road, you look back, it's going to be great. Okay, it's going to be great. But however, you just have to love him. Okay, love him. And then in the Proverb 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go. So teach him to seek God's wisdom and will for his ability and talent. This actually means two things. The first thing is your talent and your ability God gives to you. Second thing is your behavior, your attitude, your value system, your conscience God gives to you. So you have to follow so-called the nature inside of you.
OK，
So even when he's old, he will not depart from it. So even when you're getting very old, like I'm 70 years old now, I just love every bit of it because this is my nature and this is God's glory. He made us to live for him. I just love it. And 70 years old, I'm still like working as a part-time consultant for 8 hours in the semiconductor industry. I do a lot of work and serve God. I love it. I just don't feel tired. I'm old at all. I really hope every one of you will enjoy your life as much as I do when you're 70, 80 years old. And this is the purpose for this presentation. Not everybody wants to be successful. But however, when I ask you what the definition of success, I guarantee you probably have 10 or 20 different answers. If we all have different answers, how can we have a universal success or real success? And through many years, okay, the teaching and helping the youth and young professional, I think this is a very good definition according to Bible. Definition of success, being able to fully develop and utilize the talents given by God and bring glory to Him. It's all about God. It's all about this all-powerful God. And it's all about this everlasting God. So your purpose, your hope, your goal, your success is not going to diminish as time goes on. You're going to stay stronger and stronger and stronger. It's very important. Then your definition of talent is, remember the brain I show you? Actually, there's something called the mental highway. So certain group of the neurons connect to other group of neurons, connect to another group of neurons, are faster in everybody have a different way, okay? Faster than any other connection. This we call mental highway. So your talent is the mental highway inside your brain. Some people is very good at music. Some people is very good at math. Some people is born to know radio frequency. Some people is born to know architecture. It's all about talent. It's really interesting. God give us a talent. The definition of success, being able to fully develop and utilize talents given by God and bring glory to Him. Bring glory to Him is very simple. Just be a good person. Because God created all of us with His image. That means His glory inside of us. So we know exactly what the glory of God is. We just have to live according to our conscience. So this is the only, trust me, the only absolutely right definition of success. Being able to fully develop, utilize your talents, and to bring glory to God. Be a good people. Fame, status, wealth are not part of this definition. Please remember, fame, status, wealth are not part of the definition. It definitely can be byproduct success. Most probably, it will be byproduct of the success, but it is not what you're chasing for. Keep this in mind, because if you get the priority wrong, it's most probably you will feel sorry for the rest of your life after you achieve your success. So the blessing of the Lord, it makes rich and to add no sorrow with it. It's very important. You want to get rich, it's okay, it's great. It's a blessing from God. But hope you don't have sorrow go with it. If you have a rich and there's a lot of sorrows and burden go with it, and that's not from God. That's not the blessing from God. Okay, that's not a blessing from God. So a lot of the Harvard MBA graduate was very successful, become a CEO of a big company. Guess what happened later? They end up in jail. A lot of them, more than 50%, end up having a broken marriage. And lately, Texas Instruments, Intel, I remember McDonald's also. CEO of those three big companies get fired. Because what? Because they have a serious ethical problem. And you don't want to be a CEO and get fired because you have ethical problem. Everybody knows, and nobody respects you anymore. And what's the purpose to be successful like that? No, there's no purpose for that. It's very, very sad because all the talent is all wasted. All the hard work just because they define the success is wrong. Okay, definition of the success is totally wrong for them. And that's why I hope none of you will step on their steps, okay, follow their step and get into the trouble.
It's just sitting in plain sight.
Okay, so I want to play backwards because you go to the college, it's a purple there. College to get into the job get into a professional career. Professional career lead to your career life. So what it looks like for 30, 40 years after you graduate from university, from college, okay. So in the overall professional field and structure of the company, it's more like this. 60% is more like based on their work based on their core competency because self-management, technical expertise. It's more like individual contributor, engineer. Okay, basically the bottom level of the critical structure, okay, which live on the core competency. At second level, you need the collaboration capability. That's more like a first level manager. Then you need the leadership, go to higher level manager. Then you need a good business sense, go to the client focus. So this is basically the composition of a company structure. Because 5% probably can lead to the business manager, 15% probably is a leadership requirement, 20% probably first level manager or project leader, and 60% are foundation, okay, of the company and engineer, first level, everything, okay, content, marketing, sales, everything. 60% probably don't want to go to the first level manager or try to do it but didn't make it. Okay, so you keep going on, you can see as go to higher level, the percentage of the population getting lower in your lifetimes. Okay, 5% probably can make to the top level manager, business related manager job. Of course, the money, compensation go up in average, okay, but some good technical people get paid very well. And they don't need to be a manager to make more money. But most of it, if you go to higher level, and that's what they're going to do, okay. You get a better compensation, you get a bonus, you got stock option, and you got more fun, you can say. And what is the core competency? Core competence, your behavior, your knowledge and skills, your aptitude, ability, and personal characteristics. Basically, your talent, your personality, your grit, and your passion. This is your core competency. The talent, personality cannot be trained. Okay, this is very important to understand. Talent cannot be trained. If you're very good at the music, I cannot be trained to be a musician if I don't have the talent. No one will ever be able to play piano very well. It's impossible because I just don't have talent. So the people with talent sometimes can perform 10 to 100 times better than the people without the talent on the same job. And this is very important to understand. So you need to know where is your talent and try to find it, okay? We can talk about more in the future, how do you find your talent? And knowledge and the skill can be trained. You can study more or work hard to learn more and pick up more knowledge, read more, and skill, you can just keep practicing, you can get skilled. Behavior is more like how do you deal with people. That can be trained and that can be educated, and we can do that. So this is your core competency. Why it's so important? Because when you interview a job, you need to know what the people are looking for. Assuming after college, you graduate, you're looking for a job. What are people looking for? The first thing is the first impression. You give the people a warm feeling, or you don't have confidence in your code. Are you positive? Are you energetic? Are you kind? Do you have a lot of confidence? Do you have a good sense of humor? Good communication skill? Curiosity, versatility? In all the sports, all kind of game, all the math people, politics, a lot of things, which is a good sign. And you're knowledgeable. It's a first impression. And the reason I'm talking about this is I want to let you know, whatever you're doing today, and you're going to do in the college, it should be prepared for all these efforts I'm talking about here, all the important thing I'm talking about here. Then, of course, when you interview a job, no matter it's engineering, accounting, marketing, whatever, you got to show your core competency, technical expertise, knowledge, skill, passion, execution capability, diligence, interest and focus. Then we'll talk about dealing with people. Are you a person of integrity? You have a team spirit. Team spirit is one of the most important things you need to build up. And this is what I say here. It's very important to get involved with team sports because you learn so much with your team member, with the coach, with the organization, with the desire to win, with the creativity and strategy, everything. You can learn so much in the team sport. So I highly encourage all of you, pick up a team sport you like very much and get committed to it if possible. If not team sport and other like a band, an orchestra, anything is working as a team is very important. Are you a helpful person? Are you a selfless person? Good at communication, concise and precise, simple, but everyone understands what you're saying. Maturity. Then they're looking for potential because every company like to hire somebody have the future in their company. They don't want to hire a lot of people to get stuck on the first level. Am I right? Because more people have capability to go to the higher level, that means their business can expand. Most of the company doesn't have enough good business manager, good leader. So they're looking for business sense, are interested in the company, financial structure, who's making the profit, who's not making the profit, what is the general profit margin, all this stuff. If you can talk about that, you have a good business sense. A personal vision and goal. What is your vision and goal about your life? What do you want to accomplish? So many young professionals talk about it. This, they don't know. They don't know. And this is not very good. Okay, so mission, spiritual maturity, you got to have the win-win mindset and desire to be excellent. This is very important. Desire to be excellent. And you show ambition. Okay. Then next one coming in. I break the job into 3 categories. One called the objective category, more like science, engineering, accounting, basically something you can quantify easily. Are they good or not good? Then subjective group is more like arts, painting, music, dancing, theater, writing. This is more subjective. It's hard to say somebody good, somebody not good. Okay, you got to win the popularity. Okay, then you have the in-between. It's more like a business related, take a lot of effort to deal with people. Okay, I call the in-between group. The job in any of this group are good. As long as you like it, I can do the good job there. There's nothing called the good feel, bad feel. If you want the best there and you like it, and God's plan is for you to be good at it, to do it and contribute there, it's a good job. Okay, it's a good job. So I break into objective and subjective. So I'm sorry, okay. I always miss this one important slide. Let me call it up here. So today, you apply college, we call it basically look for a decathlon athlete, okay. Your GPA, SAT, ACT, national merit finalist, or academic accomplishment, very important. Then the community service, all kind of activities. So if you're a national honor society, help a lot. Extracurricular activity, team sport, is important. Community service, you don't want to just accumulate a few credit hours to fill up the requirement. You want to be sincere, consistent, and passionate to serve the community. Okay, they can tell you're just trying to fill up credit or you're trying to do a good job to serve the community. They're looking for your passion. It's not looking for your credit fulfillment, okay? And you work on the different clubs, society, training camp. You learn a lot of stuff from all these clubs, society, training camp, classes in special technical background. They have so many different kind of camp in summertime. And you can start at a nice grade to join it. And you have yourself, you have some good research project. If you work with your teacher or some university professor, okay. School ranking and your potential. Do you rank good in your school? And what is your potential? Okay. As if you are sports in varsity, you play the varsity, a regional orchestra, first signature, all this help a lot. And if you hold a leadership position in different kinds of society clubs, sport team, band, and debate team, that help a lot. Now, working experience, I think most of or almost all high school students in the United States work starting from the 10th grade, okay, 11 and 12. So they all have working experience. And great creative and funny as well as humorous essay. So your essay is very important. Had to stand out so people can tell who you are. It's not just like a regular boring essay, which I know you're already very familiar with all this. Bottom line is you know who you are and what you want, and that's important in the essay, okay? Then questions, how did your parents with only one thing good is academic background to get to enter the good college and move forward in the United States? Okay, the reason is very simple. The graduate school has a totally different standard. The first thing, of course, all your parents work very hard. Okay. But however, another important difference between the graduate school and the undergrad, usually, okay, average, graduate school has totally different standard. Graduate school need people who technically very good on certain kind of specific field. So you can help the professor do some research and help professor to publish a paper. And that's why graduate school is different. And graduate school is a lot harder, need a better student, academically better student. So most of the undergrad students don't want to get into the graduate school. So you don't compete with all the others. Okay, you compete with academically probably top 10% trying to get into graduate school. So they don't ask too much others. So objective group, okay, like I mentioned, this objective group has priority on technical core competency. People in this group should have graduate degree and specific expertise and the project experience. The student from high-ranking school and the renowned professor can find job is good pay very easily. So I'm trying to say here, if you're in the objective group, try to focus on the past, go to the good school, go to good graduate school in the good school, and work under the good professor. So when you get a master's degree or PhD, it takes no effort for you to find a job and with a good pay. Okay. So undergraduate and graduate school, the second step. Okay. So when you have a graduate degree, your interview compete with those who have the bachelor degree. There's no competition. You just walk over and get job done. Very easy, okay? Because the American graduate school tied to industry very closely. Then there's an in-between group. The in-between group require more on people skill and EQ as well, common sense and capability to have a big picture. So in between people, you need to have this kind of like a business related people. You need to have a better people skill and better EQ and the common sense to be built on a look at things in the big picture. And that part, of course, you have an MBA master's degree also helps, just like the same thing, the objective group, okay? But a lot of people need a working experience to show they're good for the in-between group, okay? Then with good GPA 4.0 from average university, plus graduate degree from high-ranking school, it's better than average GPA, low average GPA from Ivy League. What I'm trying to say here, say if I go to the UTD, I got 4.0, then get into the MIT graduate school. It's much better than I get the GPA 3.0 from Harvard or Cornell or something like that in the same engineering field. Okay, it's a bachelor degree. And this pass, the top pass can find a job much more easily than the one in the bottom. So don't think Ivy League automatically give you a good job. Okay, it really depends on which major. Okay, I'll talk about more later. So in average, easier to receive good GPA in public school than Ivy League. And good GPA in bachelor degree can get scholarship to graduate school in higher ranking university. So I'm keep talking about the same path, same strategy is find a reasonably good university. A competition is not as tough as in the Ivy League. And you can enjoy your life and get good GPA, maybe graduate with the top 3. Then you apply for graduate school in MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, all those good schools. And find a good professor you work for. Then your professional career have a very good beginning point. Okay, you will love it. So this is a very important suggestion for you to think about it, okay? Students in Ivy League are usually very smart, very active, self-motivated, positive, proactive, friendly. So the in-between group can make good friends in the Ivy League at a good university, okay? Overall, like a top 20 university, it's very good for the in-between group to get a degree there because you can make a lot of good friends and they're actually sometimes lifelong friends. But no matter what, I have to tell you, the most important thing for you and the college to find a Christian ministry and join them since day one for all 4 years. I guarantee you, you'll feel very happy about this decision because you make a group lifelong friends under a very good supervision, which is a ministry leader, and you stick together for a long time. Both my daughter are like that. They all have a 20, 30 good friends, okay? Stay together all the time. And this is very good, okay? And this probably is not going to have that easily in the public school because public school usually much bigger or a big class. Usually it's not that easy to get into this kind of relationship, okay? But however, you can still get this kind of relationship in the like campus crusade and varsity. The community college or lower ranking school still offer a very good opportunity to excel academically. So even academically, you're not that good before you graduate from high school, don't give up. Community college is still very good. Some people just blossom later. Some people just blossom earlier. And God have a different timeline for not everybody, okay? So don't feel discouraged. You can still get a very good community college and get a good degree, get into the good public university, move to the Ivy League. It's still very possible. Okay, one of my engineers take that route, okay? And he did a very good job. He's one of the best in Texas engineering. But however, it does require diligence and perseverance. Diligent perseverance is one of the most important factors for your successful career. If you work hard when you're in the high school and work hard in the college, you will never feel sorry about it. But if you don't work hard and you're trying to make up later, it's much harder, much harder. Okay, I have probably a few minutes left. So guiding principle for selection of major field and the school, the first thing, pick a field that you have passion, interest, as well as past evidence of core capability. Priority of choosing the major, natural passion, talent, job opportunity, income. It's all important, but however, income is not the top priority, okay? Passion and talent is the top priority. After you decide on major, make sure to apply for the school with good national ranking in this major. We're not talking about school ranking now. We talk about which school is good at the major you pick. This is one of the most important things. I would say this is actually the most important thing. Okay, when you pick the right major, do the Google search. The school you apply, do they have a good ranking? Okay, public university is a high ranking in your major. It's definitely better than private school or Ivy League with low ranking. Full ride can be exception. Okay, if say the Harvard give you full ride to go to the double E, even the Harvard double E don't rank very well at all. Okay, in certain field, but it's okay. Go over there and then again, you treat that as a bachelor degree and trying to go to the Harvard, go to other schools, the graduate school later. Okay, however, its ranking should still be part of consideration. Okay, the ranking of a major is very important. Okay, pick up the top 20 ranking in your major and apply to those schools. You should never apply for renowned school because of vanity or bragging power. I know most of you don't do that because most of the high school students are very, very mature now. But some of them get the pressure from parents and they apply for renowned school. It's because of the bragging power and do that. Don't do it. It's definitely a bad decision. Okay, it's a parent decision. If you use a parent's pension fund or 401k to get into a renowned private school with low or no ranking in the major you have chosen, that's a very bad decision. Very bad decision. And your parent had to save like a $30,000 a year for 10 years to supply you one private school, 4 years tuition fee. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So sometimes your parents don't want to tell you, but you should ask your parents, Mom, Dad, do you have money for this? It's okay for me to go to public school and save a lot of money. Actually, if you can go to the Ivy League, you definitely can go to a public school with a full ride. I believe so. And then you should save the money for your parents and still get a very good grade on that good public school. Then you can go to the Ivy League or famous school, graduate school later. Okay, you can still do that. Similarly, try to squeeze into a renowned school, no matter what the major is, can end up with disaster. Okay, you don't even think about the major. You don't think about a good school, help me have a career future. You're wrong, okay? Good school doesn't necessarily give you a career future. I've seen a lot of students graduate from Ivy League, couldn't find a good job and end up very discouraged, very depressed, okay? Bad major that does not offer good job opportunity, do not match your passion and talent is really a bad decision. Especially don't get the loan for that very unwise decision. Oh, as long as I go to the Harvard, everything is going to be perfect. So it's worse to get a loan. You're wrong. Okay, if you get $200,000 loan for your Harvard, you get in the major, couldn't find a good job with reasonable good salary, you can be in debt for the rest of your life. So keep this in mind. It's not a decision you want to make. Okay, you definitely want to focus on the major is your passion, your talent, and future compensation capability. Vanity should never be part of any decision you make in your life. Nobody cares how good you look. People care about how good a person you really are. So we do everything for God's glory instead of earthly bragging power, which is shell of evil. Okay, please keep this in mind, very important, because your own decision can affect yourself and a lot of other people that support you. Okay, your parents try to save $30,000 a year to supply you to go to expensive private school, it's very tough. It's very tough. Okay. If you can get a scholarship, assistantship, it's good. Okay, much better. So if you have to exhaust yourself studying day and night with little sleep to get into Ivy League, I suggest you go to the next level good school. Because the Ivy League has a lot of extremely talented people. And you might be ranked the top 3 in your high school, but you go to the Ivy League, you probably end up with ranking in the bottom half. You'll be so depressed. Okay, you'll be so depressed. And some of people just cannot handle it. Okay, some people just cannot handle it. So it's much better for you to enjoy your study at the next group of ranking school, and you be excellent in those schools, then get to the graduate school and be really good at what you're doing. Okay, then you can be a Nobel Prize winner. But if you go to the Ivy League and you get the bottom half, you probably lose all your interest to study. You just want to get out of there as quick as possible, and which is not worth it. So if you can get a good grade, get to the Ivy League, so easy, without like sleeping 3 hours, 4 hours a day. And then I encourage you to do it, no problem, okay? That's for the subjective group. I encourage you to pick the school can offer a good double major, okay? Because usually the major in the subjective group is not easy to get good compensation. So you need a backup plan. And the backup plan, most of the like arts-related major can tie to the computer field very nicely. And most of the artists, especially for musicians, are very smart, very intelligent. And they can pick up a computer like nothing. It's very easy for them. Okay, whoever can play piano, remember 20 sheets of music, and all the beat, all the rhythm, oh man, you're good, you're really smart. You can learn anything very easily. And don't worry, if you cannot get into good school, it is not end of the world. You're custom made for a great plan. Mature personality, good EQ, focus, good capability, execution, big picture, diligence, and good communication often lead to great success in the future. Hard working is must in college, okay? The reason I put dyslexia here is I'm just trying to give you an example. A lot of CEO of the big company had a dyslexia problem. Why? Because they tried to overcome the tough problem. They built up so much skill to deal with people, to face a challenge, and that's what it takes to be a CEO. So everybody God made have a good potential, okay? Please always remember the definition of success. Never lose focus on being a good person. Bring glory to God. You don't want to be a successful CEO of a big company, but end up with a broken family, life in jail. It's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. And the last 30 years of your life is as important as any 30 years of your life, okay? Never cheat or hire someone to do asset for you. This is a very bad beginning for your future. Getting to a grade school without integrity is going to be a disaster, okay? You have to be self-motivated, independent, proactive, learn to face and overcome challenge, have grit and tenacity, charge to the goal with perseverance. Get into the school that you deserve to be in. Don't get into the school you don't deserve to be in. It's only going to hurt you. Most of the American schools have a very good professor, graduate from good universities with PhD. So you don't have to worry about it. Actually, most of universities give you a very good environment to study. Like I myself, the other 2 friends got master's degree from Texas Tech. And two of them are senior VP from Texas Instruments. I'm like a vice president at Texas Instruments. So Texas Tech is not that famous school, am I right? But it's okay. As long as you can just work hard and you know where you want to go to, you will get there. And your parents' wealth has nothing to do with your future. Please understand that. Your parents' wealth has nothing to do with your future. Relying on your parents' wills can only hurt you, not to help you. Please understand that. You want to be independent. You don't want to count on your parents' financial strength or wealth. Most of them probably don't have much wealth anyway. Okay. So count on yourself and work hard, get a scholarship, get a citizenship, and be a good student and go to the graduate school, find a good job. And that's good beginning point. There's a lot of will happen later. Okay, thank you. I think that's all I have. I have to pass the screen to Elaine.
All right. Well, thank you, Ming. Hello, everyone. Welcome again. I'm so thankful for your parents telling you to join. So I'm really excited to share with you. And thank you, Teacher Ming, for really sharing from his rich experience, leading thousands of engineers from top school and really seeing what is helpful. So you see Kim Ng's picture? I'm sure it's in the news everywhere, right? So November 13th was a history-making date. And we can learn from Kim Ng how she pursued her career as we talk about pursuing what you're going to study in college and what you're going to become when you grow up. She loved baseball, and I encourage you to go watch her interview. There are many of them on YouTube, and she'll tell you she played stickballs in Brooklyn on the street, and she is the first woman, not just Asian woman, any woman who's able to take on this general manager role in any major sport in America. That's incredible glass ceiling. So I watched many of her interviews, and if you look at her past history, not an easy family experience growing up. Her father passed away when she was 5, and now she has a total of 4 sisters, so 5 of them. And she was very passionate. She did many things that Ming just talked about. She is very passionate about sports. She loved to play. She is perseverance. I name all the words that you can think of. She's resilient. She has grit. So I gave her a few cues, right? She's very smart, intelligent quotient, got into University of Chicago, studied public policy. She loves sports, so she had an intern. So I encourage you to always acquire working experience, and I'll talk a lot more about that. And she did not give up, even though it was a difficult career journey for her. She had AQ, adversity quotient, and she has strong XQ, transformation quotient, ability to overcome challenges and adversity and failures. And she became senior VP before she now become the general manager of the Marlins team, right? So she has strong emotional quotient, EQ and character quotient that Ming talked about. Just look at her as a good example. She really worked hard, not afraid of what people think and say about her. And in her interview, she said, even if she didn't get this GM job, she did not consider her career a failure. So that's an inspiration to kick off our discussion tonight. So if you look at college application, what I'm going to go through for you for the next 45 minutes is to understand the basics 5W. Why do you want to go to college? Who are you? Adding on to what Ming just shared with us, what do you want to study? Where do you want to go? When do you go, and how do you apply for the college? So we'll go through all of that in the next 45 minutes. So I have a lot of content. I'm going to go a little bit fast. Feel free to take pictures. And many of these topics on its own can be an hour and 2-hour talk. So I'm kind of cramping in to give you a high-level view of what matters to you. So the conclusion for you to make sure to remind yourself is not looking for the best school. It's looking for the school that fits you best. So everyone could be different, just like what Ming shared. So why do you want to go to college? So it's a particular job that you're looking for, and what skill do you want to learn? So actually, college is really very basic foundational education. Very basic tool to equip you to go into the society to work until perhaps you go to graduate school, master or PhD. So college is really very basic equipping of hard skill and soft skill. Just like how Ming mentioned, team sports, same thing in college is helping you how to build relationship and lead and influence others. And I'll talk more about that. And think about what your life is like now and where do you want to be when you grow up, so that you know why you want to go to college. And remember, the college admission process, this whole application process, I know it can be stressful. I know it could add to tension in the family. I really encourage parents, mom and dad, brothers and sisters, and all the student applicants to look at this experience as a good experience to enjoy, to get to know yourself, get to know each other, and support and encourage each other. So it's an opportunity to learn about colleges, to find what's a good fit and how you can apply to get in, to learn about who you are, where you want to go, and to thrive. And what would make sense financially, and what resources do you need along the way, and ask some good questions. And what do you really want to do when you grow up, right? So when you look and think about your interests, and I'll give you a model for you to answer those main questions, and I'll give you many examples and see what you may want to do after college. So begin with the end in mind. I'm giving you some example. I do a lot of mentoring. So I'm showing examples of what my mentees have done to give you some example. So I help mentee to look at what is their career journey map. So these are mentees who are professionals. So they're looking back in their history, where they went to school, and where did they work, and where did they go in the future. So this is an example of a journey map. You look at someone who's doing HR, human resources, and what they studied from China, and then Cornell, and then now working at Dell, GE, J&J, and DuPont. So different companies. So that gives you some idea of how a career journey may look like for you. And this is my career journey. So I actually came from a very poor family in Hong Kong. We were homeless at one point. We couldn't even afford elementary school tuition. And then we came to America as refugees when I was 16 years old. And I'm thankful I actually started at University of Maryland, local university, for 2 years. Then I transferred to Cornell. And then AT&T put me through graduate school at Princeton, and then sent me to different executive education at Cornell, Columbia, and Wharton Business School. So I worked for AT&T for 33 years. So this is my career map. I had 16 jobs, and I learned so much through my whole education and career. And that's some of what I'm teaching now to many students and professionals. And now I retired for almost 3 years and spending all my time to help people to develop their career, help them to do interview and do a lot of teaching and speaking. I also help my mentees to think, and I encourage you to think about this as well, because you want to begin with the end in mind. What would your life be like? Because studying and working isn't everything in life. So I'd like you to think big picture. What is your calling? What do you enjoy doing? What is your career? And then what is your community in your personal and your public? So this is one of my mentees who is a VP in a drug company. So this is her calling, career, and community. So think about that and how that could impact you. Because when you know the end goal, and then you can work backwards and see how you can go from here. So this is big picture. So this is my own. In my last 39 years as a Christian, since I became a Christian when I was a teenager, I learned my calling as a teacher. So I did a lot of teaching in the church. And then my career, I already told you, I was an engineer in Bell Labs, and then did marketing and became a director, and then retired after 33 years. And then I do a lot of community service, including interviewing for Cornell and Princeton applicants for 20 years. I served in 12 different organizations as a board director or advisor and speaker. And I'm a mom of 2 adult children. They're 30 and 32 years old. And of course, they finished their college and they're working now. So I've been married for 34 years. So that is my big picture. So think about what your big picture future life would look like. And I'm so thankful with this 3C in my life that they build on each other, and I'm using this to help people for their school, for their career, for their family, and for integrating their faith in the workplace. So I want to introduce this 5P as you plan for your college application. This 5P applies to everyone, regardless of your age, and also apply to a family as a whole. And I'm going to show you many examples of my mentees 5P. When you answer these 5P questions, that cover what Ming already shared earlier as well. So I want you to think about what is your purpose, right? That's your foundation. What would you want to become? Like I share with you, those 3C. So my purpose now become a bivocational minister helping people with their work and their faith integrated. So that's my purpose, to help people. So that's a vision. So you know what your picture is. And then what's your principle? What do you use as guiding principle to make decisions? Could be your Christian faith from your Bible, or could be your culture or your family experience. And then what is your passion? This is so important to get to know yourself. And there are many tools and tests to help you find your passion, or what you just enjoy doing since you're a little kid. Could be robotics, could be puzzles, could be arts, could be sports like Ming. And my passion, like I share with you, is teaching. So these first 3P is the foundation to get to know yourself, like an internal soul searching. And then the 4th and 5th P are external. Your people relationship is so important, and Ming already emphasized so much. When I interview employees or students applying to Cornell and Princeton, I always emphasize and get a sense, how are they as a person, as a leader? And I'll explain to you what we'll be looking for as a good leader. And then your performance. I know everyone wants to do a good job. So your performance is important, and that's your pinnacle. So that's your hard skill. Your people skill would be all your soft skill. So with that, it helps you to know your vision, how you have people skill to influence other people. And then all these P would make you a VIP, not to be the very important person or player, but really know your vision, help you to influence other people, and build up your 5P. So I encourage you as a family to discuss with each other, what's mom and dad's 5P, what's yours? And even for your whole family, what is our family purpose and principle? I've been using this to help many families. So this gives you more detail for each of the 5P. So I'm not going to go into the detail today, and each one of these could take an hour. So I'll give you some examples. So this is a mentee who studied MBA, Master of Business Administration. So she thought through her 5P on the purpose of studying the MBA and her principle using her Christian faith and biblical teaching. And her passion is to help nonprofit organizations to find solutions, which is great, to solve problems. And then her people skill is the circles of college friends and MBA professors and classmates. And then of course her performance is to do a good job, be vulnerable, and have good class discussion. Another mentee who has a very Christ-centered vision in her purpose, as you can tell, and how she cares so much about people relationship and do a good job. So I just want to give you some example of how my mentee uses to define their 5P and know the vision and mission. So I encourage you to think about that for yourself, so you know, why do you want to go to college? Who are you and what do you want to become? So this is my mentee who's an HR manager, and what matters to her is to become a good leader, do the right thing, using the right word, and how to influence others and build trusted relationship. As an HR manager, she needs to really build good, trusted relationship and do the right thing and make the right decision. So that's her example. And the final 5P example is a product manager. She was looking for a job, to become a product manager, where you need to include business, technology, and user experience. And then she got this job description. And then she analyzed what is this job requiring in these qualities. And then she put it into these 5P, so that she'll work on these 5P to pursue this product manager job. So these are more adult perspective. In the same way, for you as a student, you can think about what your 5Ps are. So now I'm going to dive in. How do we go through the college application? After you know why you want to go to school, a little bit about who you are, we'll go more into it later on as well. And what are the 10 steps to go through the college application? Number 1, the first P is perform well in your selected high school and a certain school that you're school ranking. I know parents like to go find a good school district. It's more competitive, and of course you need to feel comfortable with that school, and your school has good reputation and good history of helping students to get into good school that fit them. So that is first P of the 10, to do well in your selected high school that could be competitive and certain school ranking. And the second P is to produce good results with your GPA. That's the top criteria that university look for, whether in your high school or later on in your college, like Ming mentioned. You need to do well. So you need to find a school that allow you to be successful and do a good job and hard work, persevere on producing good results. And taking challenging classes, not just take easy classes, right? Because your GPA would show, and probably with certain weighting, like AP classes. And then what is your ranking in your school? So that's number 2, the second P. The third P is to prepare to do your best in those public tests. And I know some schools in COVID-19 may not require school, like my school, Princeton, does not require SAT. And of course, you have subject SAT tests, ACT or AP test. Continue to do a good job, do your best, and know and pray that God will help you with the rest. And number 4P is to participate in extracurricular activities, be a volunteer, team sports, do what you enjoy doing, learn a different interest, and then focus and do a really good job so you can excel in it and perform well in competitions and perhaps get awards, and even have opportunity to serve as particular responsibility, whether you may be the founder of a club. I know many students I interview are founders of a club and president or vice president, and you don't just serve for the title, right? You serve to really build relationship and help the team to be successful. And in my college interview, I would always ask those questions. I'll share more with you in a bit. So those are the first 5P to perform well. And these are mostly the top pinnacle of my pyramid, right? It's all about your performance and do a good job. And also including, of course, people skill and align to what your passion and do it with principle and align to your purpose on what you enjoy doing. So those are the first 5P. And then number 6 is the positive relationship. You need to build good relationship in high school or middle school. Wherever you go, you should have good relationship with your teachers, with your principal, vice principal, and your friends, right? Ultimately, even Harvard did a 70-year research. The most important and the most blessed people are those who have positive relationship. So whether it's a family relationship or your school relationship, when you have positive relationship, it's easier for you to get good recommendation letters from your school teachers or principals, or even your youth counselors or other mentors that you have in certain organizations that you serve. So think about building positive relationship, and there's a lot of learning about how to build positive relationship, right? So we want to help you to become a servant leader of integrity. Ming and I do a lot of those teaching, how to help you to have a servant leader mindset. You lead and yet you serve first and influence others with integrity. So that's a whole many hours of classes, right? So just think about building positive relationship, and that allow you to have good recommendation from your teacher. And of course, you don't build relationship just to get recommendation. I'm just saying that's minimum requirements. Number 7P is your personal brand. Of course, you use your personal brand to write your essay and your personal statements. So every one of us is unique. And then for an admission officer, just like a hiring manager in a company, the time they spend to look at your resume or the time they spend to look at your personal statement and essay is very limited. It could just be a few minutes, if not seconds. So you have to write the essay and your personal statement, not just typical topic like what do I want to be when I grow up. It has to be very creative, attention catching, and I believe if you take classes on how to write essay, you learn. So when we help our children to go to look for colleges, and we have attended some essay writing classes with our children, and one teacher said they really enjoyed reading one essay that is entitled Silverfish. Wow, silverfish. What is there about silverfish? So that got the interest of the admission officer to read on more, to learn about how the silverfish that the student observed actually would go deeper to tell about this student's personal brand. So you need to know what your personal brand is, your strength, and I'll share more tools how to help you to learn about your personal brand so that you can prepare to write a very compelling, a very clear and concise essay and personal statement that would impress or get attention from the admission officer. So that's the 7P. And the 8P is professional work experience. Ming also mentioned, I know for many of us may be Asian family, and our parents may tend to be more protective, and you're very busy studying, you're busy with the different clubs, you're busy with going to different tutorial classes and different interests, and you have no time to work. You don't have to do anything at home, you don't have to volunteer, you don't do any intern. I'm sorry to tell you, that's a mistake. I really encourage you, like Ming did. When I interview students, their work experience really contribute a lot toward how mature they are, toward all the previous P that I talked about, toward how well do you solve problems, how well do you build up your IQ, using IQ to solve problems, your EQ, emotional quotient, building relationship. When you work, that's when you know how to work with people. So of course you need to allocate time, not a lot of time to work, just allow enough time to make it a priority. So there are 3 types of work experience. Number 1, at home. My children growing up since 4 or 5 years old, they started to do what we call privilege. They wash dishes, they clean garbage, they help fold laundry. Especially on Saturday, it's when our whole family would allocate a few hours to do what we may call chores. And we don't call them chores, we call them a privilege. It's a privilege for us to contribute to the family. So we'll do it together. It helps to build relationship as a family, helps to contribute to the family, and helps to build our life skill. So my children went to school and went to work, and they would call home and tell us how thankful they are that they got to learn these life skills. In fact, my children are better cook than I am now, and they wash dishes better than me, and they clean the house better than me. So number 1 work experience is at home. Have the privilege to serve your family. Second, volunteer, whether it's YMCA, hospital, schools, the poor neighborhood, many opportunity, or organization, right? Like CIE, Chinese Institute of Engineering, different organization that you can volunteer and you learn how to work with people. And it's a safe environment to build your leadership skill. And that's volunteer without pay. And finally, of course, if you can get a job that you can get paid, like internship or work in McDonald's, Burger King. Those are all good work experience with limited hours. That helps you to learn how to interact with people and build up your leadership and people skill. And number 9 is all that people interaction, including preparing for interviews. I'll dive deeper in all these purple areas. In the, what is a SWOT, what's a SOAR? I want to help you. And that's a whole hour on its own. How can you be confident and comfortable in the interview? And even using 1 minute to tell a compelling story about your strengths. I'll give you some examples. And finally, the 10P is to plan your college selection and financial need. I'll spend a lot more time about that at the end. So like I mentioned, because of COVID-19, Princeton does not require standardized testing. So you want to check on all the schools that you look for, whether they need it or not. And of course, you probably still good to take it so that you have it. And when you're preparing yourself to go to school or for intern or when you go to work, these are the 12 qualities that employers look for. And when you look at this list, just like how Ming and I shared with you, it isn't just about your IQ and your grades. If you look at this list of 12 qualities, you see that there are only 2 that are hard skill, basic math and literature, or literate, or reading and writing. All the others are soft skill, enthusiasm, your attitude, willingness to learn, curious, right? Stay hungry, always willing to learn. A self-starter, motivated, willing to solve problems, because all the job that we have, it's about solving problems, right? Whether it's medical, financial, technology, human resources, it's all kinds of problems. So we need to learn how to solve problems and work well with people. And your work ethics, right? Your character quotient, your character matters, and volunteer really help to build you up. And then to get to know yourself. Who are you? What are your strengths? There are many tools. These are the top 3. And my favorite one is Strengths Finder. So you probably heard about Myers-Briggs and DISC. And Strengths Finder, it's a very simple test with 177 questions, but takes about 30 minutes or less to really very accurate. In fact, I'm giving a talk in December about Strengths Finder for a Canadian organization, right? On what Strengths Finder is and how can help you, because that is very accurate test. So everyone is unique. As Ephesians 2:10 tell us, we are God's masterpiece, his handiwork. So everyone is unique, just like what Ming said. So don't compare yourself with others, and moms and dads, don't compare your child with another child. Everyone is unique. Like Kim, she loved to play stickball. She's unique, right? Like Jeremy Lin, we all love his basketball skill. Everyone is different. Of course, we may not be as famous as he is. Everyone is unique, just like the brain picture that Ming shared. So we are prepared in advance to do the good work that we're to do. So when we get to know ourselves and what schools look for and what companies look for are these CAP skills, C-A-P CAP skills, especially for 2020 and beyond. And usually, as you know, we have more AI, artificial intelligence, robots, and drones. So we want to grow skills that robots and drones cannot do. So these would be the problem solving, like I mentioned, critical thinking, creativity to design, people management, collaboration. And I summarize these into all the different cues, which I don't want to go into detail today, but they are all these CAP skills. Think about ways that you can build these CAP skills. The C's are your creativity, critical thinking, to collaborate with people, curious to learn about others, learn about the nature, learn about different technology, and then be adaptable. Especially when you go to college, you have to adapt to your roommates, adapt to your professors. And then the P's are able to persuade others, not to control and boss people around, and you learn that. when you're in a team sports, when you're in a club, when you're leading, and then how to work well in solving problems and people management. And another tool I want to share with you is the SWOT analysis tool. Many of you probably know about a SWOT for product marketing, but I use this tool for people. So here's one from my mentee. This is her SWOT. So I encourage everyone to do this tool, moms and dads and the students and children, because that way you get to know each other, know yourself, talk to each other. So I use this in my career, and I use this with my boss, with my mentor, so that I can confirm, oh, that's my strength. Am I using these strengths? And I'll show you mine. So this is my own SWOT. And I'm transparent to share with you, right? What am I really good at doing in my internal strength? And what are my weaknesses that I need to work on? And I encourage us to focus on our strength. That's why I suggest you to do a strength finder, because we want to study measures and do work that are using our strength. So in my 33 years of career, one boss, in all my bosses, one boss spent a whole hour talking about my strength. Don't you feel good about talking your strength? So I encourage you to do Strength Finder in your family, share with each other and talk about how can you use your strength when you go to college, when you look for a job, and then what are the opportunities? So externally, what are things that you can learn and grow? So these are my opportunities when I was working, and even now. And then what are my threats? What are some blind spots? Things that I need to be careful about. And there was one year I had a fatal flaw. I was really arrogant and fatal flaw, big blind spot. And then a few months later, my boss said, oh, Elaine, you have improved. This is no longer your fatal flaw. So this tool is very powerful for you to get to know yourself, get to know each other in your family, and prepare you for interviews, because guess what? More likely than not, in school interview, job interview, I'm going to be asking you, tell me about yourself. I'm going to show you how to say that. And tell me about your strength, right? Your weakness. And you don't just give them a word. You have to tell them a story. You have to give them an example. And then this tool helps you to monitor your maturity, your growth. How are you using your strength? How are you improving your weakness? So this is a very powerful tool. And then do it not just from your own perspective, do it from a 360 degree, right? From your parents, from your friends, from your youngest friends or younger siblings. So it's a 360 degree. So the last tool I'm going to teach you is how to prepare yourself for interviews. How can you show in just a 1-minute story, a real story, an example of your strength by way of telling them what's the situation, obstacle, action, and result, which stand for SOAR, just like the verse in Isaiah 40:31. How are you going to soar on wings like eagles? Which is so good, right? So think about what you accomplished in that example and how you accomplished them. And in my college interviews for Cornell and Princeton applicants, I always ask 3 stories, 3 examples from the student in these 3 areas on intelligent quotient, how good are they learning and solving problems, emotional quotient, how well do they get along with others, and then adversity quotient, how well do they overcome adversity and challenges. So I'm going to give you one of each example. So hopefully you may listen to the recording and practice and help your family, each other to practice. Even moms and dads need to learn the same way. And you can time me. It takes me 1 minute to tell your story, to make it a clear, concise, and a compelling story when you're interviewed, that you feel comfortable and confident to tell them. So here's one for IQ. I'm a fast learner and I enjoy solving problems on my own. One time, my professor asked us to use a tool that we've never learned before. Usually, this tool takes about 13-week class. I took the initiative to study this tool online for 3 weeks and ask experts. Then I learned how to use the tool, and I helped my project team to use this tool, and we got an A on the project. That's about 1 minute. Quickly telling you the situation, the obstacle, and the action I took, and the result. And I gave you numbers. Think about numbers. It could be 13 weeks, but ended up taking 3 weeks because of my fast learning strength and problem solving strength. Second example, EQ. I'm a good team player. I enjoy working with others and help them to be successful. One time I joined a new group in a company, and there's a coworker who tend to be a little bit difficult to get along with. She does not like to talk to others and not greeting other people. Well, I did not give up. I continued to greet her and help her when she needed it. And then we became good friends. We ended up writing a paper together, and we got an award for the paper. So that's to show a before and after contrast. A difficult person, and how did you overcome it and then become good friends, and what did you do together? Final example is an AQ, adversity quotient, and I have this typed up for you. This is from one of my mentees. So think of a challenge that you had, a very difficult project, or difficult something you failed, or perhaps a difficult family situation. So this person, my mentee, said, I'm good at executing complex projects with excellence, with good team collaboration on time and on budget. One time, I took over a complex auditing project without proper handoff from the last owner. I was challenged to complete it in 14 business days, and usually it would take 2 months. So I pulled a cross-functional team together, established our team goal, and worked diligently with a focused effort. Then we finished it in 10 business days, 4 days ahead of schedule. That is a very powerful story. So those are examples of preparing for interview. So in interviews, I always ask students, do you consider yourself a good leader? Because in our school, we like students not only standing out for good grades and good test score. Most students do, or play good piano, and will talk more about how you stand out. One thing that we look for is a student who bring in unique set of qualities, contributions, value add that other students could not, because of your past experience and all the 5P that we talked about. How can you articulate and present yourself? And minimally, we want someone who's a good leader. And this is my definition of leadership. And that's what Ming and I talked about on servant leader, right? So it's your ability to influence others, to be their best, helping others to be the best for the greater good, aligned to a shared vision. So I have a whole series of class to teach on that, right? So today is just to give you a definition. So when you look at this cartoon, good leader, they got on their own up there, but the team members still struggling. A great leader is someone who walks alongside and helping the team members and meet them where they are and help them to be successful, help them to be the best. So I would hear stories from the students I interviewed for Cornell and Princeton. They did tell me stories how they meet their team members, whether it's the tennis team, the orchestra, and meet them where they are. And I was so encouraged to hear those stories. So think about that. Think about how to build your leadership skill during high school. And this is when we talk about letters of recommendation. Not all schools may need it, some would, and then follow the instructions. Some may only need 1, some may need 2. So don't send more than they need. You need to follow the instruction. And I hope many of you know about this system. So when our children were looking for college, their high school was using Naviance. It looks like they still use Naviance. And you can tell me if you're using Naviance or not. And you can request that to your teachers. And of course, you look for teachers that you have very good relationship with, that you really help the teacher to be successful. You can influence up, help your teacher, not just the teacher's pet, right? But really helping teacher to solve problems, or your principal, or your mentor, or someone you work with in your volunteer job. and that, follow instruction, whether they send directly or through the system, and do well. So remember the 5P, right? And then when I talk about looking for students who would stand out, if you think back to these 5P, and I mentioned to you a few of these Q, the quotients, we all know about IQ, and that's what gives you good performance and good competence. And then EQ is when you have good people skill, emotional quotient with good chemistry. And then AQ and XQ is the adversity quotient and transformation, right? Especially during COVID-19, there are many challenges, many unknowns, many changes. How can we not be afraid of changes, right? Instead of fear, we can have faith in Christ to help us. We can do all things in Christ who strengthens us. So have commitment and that passion to build those AQ and XQ. And then your character, right? That's when your integrity matters, your principle. And then your SQ is your spiritual quotient. What is your calling? What do you want to do when you grow up? So these are the pillars of excellence. And how would you stand out? So when you know these 5C and these 5P, this is what we look for. We look for students who are superb, not just the world's definition. They're superb in the 5C that I just shared with you and those 5P. They're superb because of these 6 qualities in this acrostic of superb. Servant leader of integrity that I just told you. So prepare stories to tell them. How do you lead others? How do you influence them using my definition? A lot of times I ask my student, what's your definition of success? Do you consider yourself a good leader? Give me examples. So prepare those stories. Uniqueness, right? You have to stand out, not just the grades, not just certain skill, but how are you unique? What can you bring to the university that others may not? What's your passion? Just like Kim Ing we just heard about. Your persistence. So when you do a sport or do an interest, don't do 10 different things, right? Not even 5, perhaps 1 or 2 that you specialize in. Remember we said competition and awards, that you have a passion and you persevere that make you stand out. Really specialize and persevere in it so that you don't do too many things. So my children, they were doing a bunch of things when they were young. And then later on, it's like a funnel. You filter out. So my daughter chose to do violin instead of both violin and piano, right? And my son chose to do clarinet. And then among the sports, my daughter did the field sports and rugby, and our son did tennis. So everyone is different. Focus on what you enjoy. It's very important to do what you enjoy, both what you study, what you play, what you have time doing. Of course, not just video game all day long, right? You can allocate time to do game, and yet do what you enjoy, what you're going to study, and what you're going to do in your work. That way, you enjoy your work and you get paid too, right? That's what I did for 33 years. And then be excellent in it, that you really stand out. Be reliable person that we can trust, certain project and responsibility for, and you are resourceful. You can solve problems and come up with ways. And the best place to train all this superb quality and build trust and build good relationship is at home. Start with being a superb child and a superb mom and dad and a superb student. And that really prepare you to go to college. And finally, boy, my time is tight. It's now how to select the universities. So all that I just shared with you are basically the software, kind of who you are, know what you're interested in, and be the best you can be. And the rest of this, the 10P is to plan for college, is really the hardware on how do you select schools. And many of these you probably can find online and look for. So many statistics I'm going to share with you, just a very quick outline of what you can do to prepare for what college to look for. So you want to find what college type, right? Is it private, public, or doesn't matter? What is the college school size? Large, medium, or large, or doesn't matter? because everyone is unique and different. When you go visit the college, it has to be a school that you can ask yourself the question, is it a school I'm going to spend 4 years in? Is it where I would love to spend the 4 years? Because the 4 years is so important. It's very pivotal and foundational. And you're going to make lifelong friends. Many of our lifelong friends can be for your college friends, right? And what kind of degree do you plan to pursue? And what major are you interested in? So those are basic questions. And then you will come up with a college research worksheet, whether it's a spreadsheet or using the system Naviance. I'll show you an example. And then using the spreadsheet and the tool to help you compare the school's requirement with your own capability. And like Ming said, you don't want to go to an Ivy League school when you're struggling and be stressed out. You want to find a school that map and compatible with your capability that you enjoy. So you would consider all these criteria when you do the research, right? How selective or competitive the school is, what major do they offer, and what kind of ranking, where they located, how big is the school, how much, and what activities that you may like or sports. And very important, like Ming said, that they should have good Christian fellowship and local church. I'm not going to go into the detail of these sheets. You can find these online easily to go through the step-by-step instruction of what to look for and each of these items. And some of these here you have schools and where they're located, and then you can list those out. And in our case, our children use a spreadsheet. It's easier to compare and stare. So these are more examples. So it's all part of the whole college research spreadsheet so that you can look at all their acceptance rates, and I'll give you some example. And then what did your school do? How did your school accomplish and help the students in the past? And use that as a reference in terms of how competitive your schools are. And then what are all the key dates? And are they considered safety, target, or reach? And we'll go into that next. And then where do you want to be, right? Think about all the different weather, climates that you may be, and how far do you want to be from home? Some want to be close enough, some want to be medium distance, some want to be really far away. So, and what kind of campus? Some are party school, which you may want to avoid, right? So need to visualize and go visit and see if that's where you want to be. And in fact, you can start visiting even over the years while during your childhood, for family vacation, and especially in the junior summer year, definitely visit the ones that you consider to be very high priority for you. So think about all the different school locations. What kind of city or town are they? And do you really want to be near beach or mountains? And what weather? So all those are good questions to ask. And how far are you away from home? So those are very practical questions to ask. So here's an example. Actually, my husband helped me prepare these, right? For a Texas resident, these are 3-step top-down that you can consider. What is my interest in career? So for example, this student, he or she is interested in robotics, electrical, and computer science. And there's a whole talk we can share about what major do you want to study? Where's the next killer app? Where's the money going to be? So we don't have time to do that today. And then what degree do they want to pursue? So they want to do an undergraduate computer science. And then what college, right? What kind? And then, for example, if it's public, in-state will be UT Austin, UT Dallas, and how much is it? And then public school out of state, Georgia Tech. My son graduated from Georgia Tech. If you live in Georgia, that's the best deal because it's low tuition and it's considered to be MIT of the South. So it's not that expensive. It's medium size. And then University of Michigan as an example. And then private school, of course, MIT, very expensive, and Carnegie Mellon. And then all the other factors that we just talked about. So here are some school ranking report you can use as a reference. Don't take it as a gospel. Like Ming said, it's not just the name brand of the school that you want to go to. It really depends on the major you want to study, if the school is good at that major. And also for graduate school, do you have a good professor who's specialized in the area that you want to study in? For example, US News and World Report, you can go find online and look at the ranking here. These are the top 10 for computer science, electrical and computer engineering. It's probably not surprising. You can expect these. And then what are the top 10 schools in general? So need to see what kind of methodology they use to rank the school. Don't just take it as gospel, right? Because each report could be different. In this case, US News versus Wall Street Journal versus the World ranking. And you see they differ. So it's slightly different. And then for US News and World Report rankings, for different major, whether the public university or liberal arts university or the engineering school or different business school. Again, look at the criteria and align your search of school to your interest. And then, of course, if you're not sure what major you study, you may consider doing a school that offers multiple majors that are strong. For example, I'm biased, right? Cornell offers very strong major, whether it's engineering, business school, liberal arts, so very well-rounded. Also, Cornell, if you are a New York resident, you can have very low tuition in some of the public part of the university as well. So in general, you don't want to apply more than 20 universities, not even 15. So we think you can apply to 4 to 12 universities with the mix of safety school, right? That you know for sure you can get in, no problem, 1 or 2. And then good fit, compatible, right? Your target school, 2 to 4. And then reach school, and some people call super reach, dream school, another 1 or 2. That way you kind of hone into and do a good job in those schools. So don't do excessive number of schools, do what's reasonable and aligned to your interest and all the criteria we just talked about. So when you look at these schools, look at their admission deadline, right? So early decision give you a priority because it's fewer students applying, you have a better chance of getting in if you know that's the school you want to go into. And not all schools offer early decision anymore. And then look at the scholarship. There's both school scholarship, public and private scholarship. And I'll have a couple of slides on that very quickly. And of course, the score and the GPA to do the comparison with your own capabilities. So here are some examples. Cornell, look at their online freshman profile. Using their profile will give you a good idea. What is their average score, ranking, and everything? So that would give you some idea. Georgia Tech as an example. And then UT Austin, they have 32% acceptance rate, which is very good in the student profile, right? As opposed to Princeton, 5.6% acceptance rate, extremely competitive. So we're very busy helping to interview the students. And then these are the quick terms you need to know, what it means to do early decision, early action, priority deadline, and regular decision. So all these, be familiar with them and then know your due dates. Now I know you're very busy. For those who are in senior year, November, December are very busy time. And also get ready for your financial aid application as well. So how do you pay for college? Speaking of financial aid. So there are 2 types, right? One is when you are need-based. So my family was very poor. My parents worked in the restaurant, in the kitchen. So I was able to get financial aid and work study. And because of my work study, I got to work for a very famous professor. And because of the work experience, he helped me to find a job intern at AT&T Bell Labs. And that's why I got into AT&T and worked there for 33 years, right? And the rest is history. So it's really been an amazing story. And it's really a God story and a Cinderella story. So regardless of your family background, don't be afraid, right? Really pursue and try your best. And we know God will bless you with the rest. So there's 2 types of financial assistance. One is the financial aid, work study, based on need. The other is the scholarship, which is merit-based. So I got that as well. So scholarship would allow you to, go research. There are many types of merit-based scholarship that you can go look for, even though your family may not qualify for the need-based financial aid. So this is the Pfizer, and check out these websites to help you find ways to subsidize for your tuition. For example, Princeton, very expensive, $70,000. And yet for a student who really work hard to get grants and need-based and merit-based, and that's similar to what I did. I had majority of my tuition paid for, and I have a very small loan that I can pay when I started working. So they ended up having to only pay $13,000. So these are helpful websites. Take a picture of this, or you can search them easily. It's helpful to learn more. And then to finish up, and I cannot emphasize enough, just like Ming mentioned, God has the best interest for us. He's watching over each one of you. He created you. He gave you Jesus as your personal savior. You have to ask, seek, and knock, like Matthew 7:7. He would open doors. And I experienced it my whole 39 years as a Christian. And when you're not sure how to seek God's will, where do you go to school? These are the 5 steps I've used in all my Christian life. What the Bible tells me, of course, the Bible doesn't tell me Cornell and Princeton, but the Bible gives me wisdom. The Bible gives me guidance and tell me not to be greedy, just to go to school to make a lot of money, but really to help serve the community and serve the society. And God's Spirit, when you pray with your family together, make this a family affair. You can experience God together, and He will give you peace to confirm. God's people, including Ming and me, we are happy to help you. Your parents, your counselors, and your school, and your youth group counselors. And God's circumstances, right? So many different things that we talked about today, like the 5P, or the pros and cons, and things that we just talked about, and common sense that will help you and show you the right decision making. And then when you walk through all these 4 steps, you're still not sure, you just do Nike, just do it, because you can leave the result into God's hand, God's sovereignty. And remember, it's not just where you end up going that matters, it's also the process. So the process is as important as the product. And I pray for all of you to enjoy this process. It's a once in a lifetime process as a family that we can encourage and pray for one another. So finally, this is a poem that I loved when I was in college at Cornell. I have a poster that reminds me every day when I went to school, every day when I went to class, and even now, whether when you go to work or every day when you wake up, I don't just rush in and do things. I want to make sure I ask God and I seek Him and I knock on His door, because God really has been patient and waiting to help us. So here's what you need to do after this talk as you go off to prepare, and I'm sure you've been preparing already. Continue to get good grades. Like we told you, GPA is important. Make your list for 4 to 12 schools. One student joined us earlier and she's applying to 6. That's a good number. Visit college campuses. Even when you're young, go visit early. Research all the different college and career early on so you know what you may want to do in the future and begin with the end in mind. And prepare all the essays and applications, watch out on your deadline, and then work with your family and work with your counselor, because your counselor is very experienced. So thank you for joining us. Sorry for rushing. And then for those parents who've been in our class, make note of this. We don't have class tomorrow, and we do have class in the next few more Sundays, and I'll be speaking on communications for family to build good relationship in Mandarin. And then also about network online addiction and game addiction. How do you manage your time? So let's start. And Lena and Ming, do we have any questions? Show the financial website information again. Okay, so let me go back to the financial. So Ming, can you see what other questions we have?
Hold on. I think I remember see one question asked for, say, what if I don't know my strengths now? It's from Lisa. So I think the best way to start is Strengths Finder is very good beginning. And you answer all the questions on the web. It's amazing. Just because you answer all this question, they give you the top 5 strengths out of 32 categories for you. and you will be shocked. They know better than you know about yourself. It's amazing. Okay, this just somehow they got that talent. So Strength Finder is a very good beginning. You buy the book, they give you the ID to get on the web and to take the survey. And the second thing is just I learned from the John Maxwell, who's a leadership coach and also the good pastor. He said you can do reflection on the good memory, exciting moment during all past life you have, and then write it down. Somehow you'll find the theme, and that theme probably lead to the talent, the strengths you didn't know before. And same thing like you go back to all the tests, all the courses you have taken, and write down what are the excited moments, what are the tests, what are the courses you handle so easily, so naturally, and you just feel like at home. And that probably give you some clue where your strength is. Of course, this is more academically. Then the Strengths Finder give you the chance to find out what kind of person you are. You're introverted, you're a strategist, you're a big picture person. Will you win over other person? Like Elaine definitely is Wu there. Win over other person. So this is something you can try to start it. Then of course, the biggest counselor or consultant for us is Google search. You just type in, how do I find my strengths? Or you go to the YouTube, how do I find my strengths? And you will get a lot of good advice. That's my answer. I think Elaine, do you have some, yeah.
Yeah. So the Strength Finder is a good tool, and talk to each other in your family, because it should be very obvious what your strengths are growing up, what you enjoy doing. Have a family sharing time. And then Strength Finder really helps. And then a few other tools I showed earlier, DISC and Myers-Briggs. So I'm giving a talk in early December. So join this parenting group. I'll share some of the talk information there on Strength Finder, and the two other panelists, and they will be talking about other tools as well. So you should be able to find the book in Amazon. Someone said no, and in fact, some parent in this parenting group already found a few. So we'll join this group, and we'll be able to share more information on that.
One question about the Christian fellowship for the kids in the college.
Yeah.
The most two famous ones. One is a Campus Crusade. The other one is IntraVarsity. Most of the big university, they have it. Otherwise, you can always join some of the big church. They usually have a good youth ministry. However, I have to say, most of the time, okay, Asian American like to get along with the Asian American community. So you can also find a big Korean church or Chinese church. They have a good youth ministry also. So those are some chance you can find it out. So when you go to the college, somehow I feel it's very nature. Well, the people have same cultural background. They like to get together. So Asian American become one group, White American one group. You know, it's just nature. Okay, I don't know why. So this is the way I find it out. So most probably you will enjoy that kind of community better than the other.
Yeah. So when our children went to look for colleges, that's one of the very important criteria for us. In fact, one child studied a summer program and to get to know a certain school, if that's where they want to go. And we even went to fellowship with them. And in the same way, later on, when they went to college, the first thing that we pray and we help them is to find a fellowship and a local church that they enjoy. And it made a huge difference, because that's where they met my son met the future wife, now my daughter-in-law, and the local church on campus, the pastor and the pastor's wife even did kind of counseling for both of them. And then they, eventually got married 5 years ago and such. So it really is a defining moment in the university where our children will call us and tell us, oh, mom and dad, now the Christian faith is not your Christian faith. It's not my Christian faith, because it's not just because the parents are Christian, but really now they in college make their decision, say, yeah, is it a faith that they're going to commit for the rest of their life? Because God does not have grandchildren, right? God only has children. So yes, that fellowship in college, through, like Ming said, Campus Crusade, InterVarsity, local church, and perhaps you know friends and others who went to the same university in the same city and ask about churches, and even your own church network, and find church and know people who can be local, either host family or just local contact. It's worth it. So a few people asked about volunteer opportunities in COVID. Very good question. So of course, it's very difficult to do it in person. I'm sure there are still volunteer need for people who may, there's some poor, underprivileged children, some way, and of course it's probably hard for them to get Zoom, but look online, whether it's YMCA or organizations that help the underprivileged, how you may even help them or tutor them through online or by phone, or and I know it's hard. And then you could be also delivering food if certain organization can use help. And then there are many organizations like CIE, CIA, and those organizations still doing major events. How, because I know high school students, because I spoke at one of the conferences, right, where they are in charge of the whole AV. And I personally need help in my ministry, in my website, so there are students who've been helping me as well. So there are many ways that you can volunteer when you or the parents know certain companies, certain organization, and you're diligent and you're responsible based on your strength, how you can help them. There are many
Elaine,
online.
one
Yes.
person asked you to put the 10P slides on.
Yeah, I did earlier.
Oh, okay.
But I'll do it again if needed. Okay, any other question? And Ming and I were wondering, would you guys be interested for us to dive deeper to hold future talks for your children in English? Is this something of interest?
Look at the other questions. I don't see like kind of interest there. Okay.
If you're interested, put a 1. Yeah, and put down what topic you're interested in. What topic? So it's English. What topic would you be interested in? I can do a whole hour on any one of these, right?
Oh, 10 hours.
There are a lot of content. So tell us what topic, and yeah, so for example, we can do a whole hour on interview, on what is leadership and how study skills, there are all kinds of topics. So let us know. Are there any other questions? Financial website. Okay, so I did earlier. So let me try again. Financial website. I think there are 2 slides on that. So please pay attention as I move, because I already went there earlier. So this one. Okay, is this the one? How to deal with anxiety in this pandemic. There are actually more experts on that topic. And Lena and Dr. Wang could talk more about that. I think the most important is to make sure as a family that we encourage and love one another and really do life together. Yeah, AQ, that's good. Character development. Yes, those are good topics. So please go ahead and type in what topics you may be interested in. So this will be in English and we can look into that. Yeah, financial website. So this is it. This is the financial website, okay? Yep. Any other question or topic? Also, how do you go into 微信群, huh? So this is the QR code. So this is the one that we have every Sunday that Ming, Lena, Dr. Wang, and I will be sharing every Sunday from 11 to 12. Sometimes we go over when there's Q&A. And then all these are recorded. And we share all the recording the YouTube and the playlist. There are two versions. There's the short 3-minute, 5-minute version, and there's the whole hour version. When you join the QR code, join this group, you'll get the, oh, it's not working? Okay, let's see. So how about this one? Let's try this one. This one should work. Both should work, but okay, how about this? Try this one on the right. Yuping, can you try it? See if that works. Importance of family time, relationship, faith in God and home. That's good. So Yan, you meant it for English, right? Yeah, that's very good topic. Family time. Okay, so now it works. Good. Okay, very good. Okay. Any other question and topics?
Yeah,
So
by the way,
yeah, go ahead.
in case you have some like urgent support you need or critical decision you want to make, I can give you my phone number, 214-603-7349, 214-603-7349, and I can help. Okay. So don't hesitate just to call me, but yeah. Whatever the tough questions, you cannot see the answer, but you need it quick, you can just give me a call. I might be a help.
Good. Yeah, you join the group, you get the previous video, and those are all Mandarin. This is the first English one we're doing for this group. I personally have many English talks on my website, which is Call to Work, which talks a lot about communication, leadership.
We'll try to get the link, okay, on the cccfc.org also.
Yeah,
so
which is right here on the flyer.
Yeah, okay.
Flyer shows the link. Guidelines and skills for those fresh undergraduate for job. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, job interview during pandemic. That's good. And that will be in English, right, Long? So we can plan those coming up. So today was a lot of content from a school application perspective. So it's a big picture, and we didn't have time to go into the detail. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know what you need and help us do some promotion, because we like to help as many people as possible. Many times, probably just a few of our experience can help you save so much effort down the road. Okay.
So Jennifer, the English side of the website is the same address, www.cccfc.org. And I know Ming's Church in Dallas is very strong in youth group. They have a parenting group, and they have a very good youth pastor. If you're interested, you could ask inside this parenting group. So this parenting group is just for the Sunday class, which is very broad, people from everywhere. But the CCCFC youth group, parents group, is just for the youth who go to that church or attend online, and they're very good too. Yeah. And there's another one I recently recommended, is Pastor Lenny Chang's church in New York. And he's a very passionate and strong youth pastor. And I recommend him, and he welcomed you to join as well online. Okay.
Here's a question here, say my son is a senior now. Is it too late to him to follow the guideline? Our professional career can last to 75, 80 years, okay? So it's never too late. Especially at the senior, it's actually a very early stage. So just set up a direction and line it up right and move one step at a time. Like we're talking about here. We're gonna put all our presentation in the cccfc.org also. So you'll be able to find it, okay, in the family ministry. So because there's so much information in it, it probably take you a while to review and digest it. Okay, we're gonna put it there.
Or just replay and re-listen. Take picture of what you need.
You can replay it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have any technical questions, just call me, I guess. Sometimes
so there's a question. Would you offer a teen fellowship online? They do. CCCFC does do that, and the church in New York, and many churches do that now.
Yeah, cccfc.org. You can find the, and they can follow all the phone number. You can call them. Okay. I think one most important thing you have to know is just be resourceful. Okay. The meaning of resourceful means you take advantage of all the resource you can get access to. This is very important personality for important part of function, I guess, for you, your children or your parent yourself too. Just wherever you find a resource, go take advantage of it. That's
Okay, we're running really late. It's now 2 hours. It's very late in East Coast. That's like 11 o'clock, but thank you for joining us.
Okay, so Elaine can lead us in the close prayer.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we honor you, we worship you. For you are our God, and you are our loving Father, and you are the Lord of our life. Thank you for all those on the line today, young or old, parents and children. Together, we want to build a happy family and a happy life because we love each other, because we love you, because you love us first, that we can love each other. I pray for all these families and the young people to know how to go through this application process. It's a high pressure, intense experience, and yet we go through this with your help and with love for each other, encouragement from each other, so that we can experience your love and your leading throughout this process and enjoy and make the right decision. And we know because the result is in your hand. So we pray for your blessing for the family and for all of us to really know you as our personal Savior, our Lord and Jesus, who loved us and died on the cross for us and rose in 3 days. We give you all the glory and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 All right,
you.
God bless you all. Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
谢谢，太感谢了。
谢谢。
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, we are recording to share in the parenting group. So join that QR code. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Elaine, if you send me the PowerPoint and I combine with mine, I'll send to the.
Yeah, I'll select some. I'm not gonna share everything. Yeah, because but they can listen and they can take pictures from what they need. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.